And I can't help but think about elderly people. They shrink down, and you take on sort of a prunish appearance. I think that's got to have a lot to do with dehydration. If you remain fully hydrated through your entire life in your old age, I bet that's going to counteract a lot of that. Okay. How about diabetes? Right. Dr. B claims that there's quite a connection between diabetes and dehydration, osmotic pressure, because not only does the body salt to maintain osmotic pressure, the water, the fluid cell versus the fluid outside of the cell, that's the osmotic pressure. It's the little solutes, the little things floating around in that outer ocean that that keep that in balance. But our body also uses sugar to do that, far more so salt, but a little bit of sugar as well. I'm not going to tell you to eat sugar, please don't. We'll talk about that in the next praxis. But natural sugars, yeah. So I don't know. It's really complicated the way he describes it. I couldn't even begin to repeat it here. But he says if you have low blood sugar levels, increase your salt intake and drink your water. Right? Hey, let's take a look at migraines. Another symptom of dehydration. I think a lot of people actually already know this, perhaps unfortunately through an experience of a hangover, which is nothing but an extreme state of dehydration, a gross state of dehydration, right? If you have very yellow urine, that's a sign of dehydration. It's very concentrated. All the toxins and so forth that the body is getting rid of is very concentrated. There's not a lot of fluid around it. But when people drink alcohol, that alcohol runs right out of their bodies, and it pulls all the water in order to do it, because it just can't handle alcohol. I mean, it's serious poison for the body. And it's interesting. He has an interesting testimonial of one woman. She was a missionary, and she was plagued with migraines, and she ate quite healthy, and she drank herbal teas and fruit juices, and she was really trying to clean up her act. And she came across this book, and then it wasn't until she started drinking water and taking the salt, the migraines just completely went away. And she had had years, and she said she would like cry and pray to God, please help me with this. I don't know what I need to do. Anyway, she said it was a total blessing to find this book, and her migraines completely cleared up, because herbal teas, fruit juices do not equal water. Okay, they're water. We're talking water, just straight water. Okay, and think about it. If you were stuck in a desert, right? Here's your body telling you need water. I mean, what would you be craving? You're really, really thirsty. What would you be craving? You would not be craving, I'd like a nice little herbal tea right now. No, you want water, right? I mean, listen to our bodies, right? We've got to do that. All right, here's a good one. Obesity, okay? We're going to talk, actually, in the next praxis a little bit more about this, quite a bit about this, but just to give you a little bit of information, a lot of obesity is not really your fault. I mean, okay, everything's, you have to take responsibility for everything, okay? But I'm going to show you a couple things that might be leading to abnormal obesity that just doesn't equal the food intake that you took in. It's like you're way bigger than the food that you took in. We'll talk about that. Anyway, so good news relating back to water. There's a satiety hormone, satiating hormone, let's say, called motilin, and when your stomach is fully hydrated, right, drink that water before you eat. I would say 2 cups, not just one. I would just go for the 2. Make sure it's fully hydrated. Motilin, this satiety hormone, is released, which makes you feel full and satiated, right? So that's nice, good news about water. Probably you've experienced that before. If you drink water, all of a sudden you're not as hungry. And Dr. B makes that point very clearly. He says many times people feel like they're hungry, but they're not hungry. It's just a thirst. If you drink some water, you'll watch the hunger will go away. It's really true. If you've ever heard of people that fast and they're just drinking water and they feel absolutely no hunger, you think, how could that be? Well, that's how it could be. So let's see. Okay, let me just give you a testimonial of somebody. Here was somebody that weighed almost 400 pounds. I think they said they topped off at 399. They had excruciating arthritis, and they heard an interview with Dr. B on the radio. So they started following his program of just drinking water and using salt and walking. And in 1 year, they lost 140 pounds and they had absolutely no pain, no more arthritic pain. I mean, boy, that's pretty easy, if people aren't willing to do that for themselves. I don't know. All right, let's talk a minute, on the subject of obesity. Let's talk about the interesting paradox of diet soda. Okay, let me explain why this is just a double whammy. And if you have a weight issue, you don't want to be messing around with diet soda, okay? Here's why. Okay, diet soda has two things in it, right? Caffeine and aspartame, okay? Caffeine, just like alcohol, is very dehydrating, okay? Because your body wants to get rid of it, so it's gonna pull the water out. But beside that, caffeine triggers the release of ATP. Okay, ATP is an energy store in your body. Aspartame triggers the release of GTP. Similar thing, but it's a storage of energy in your body, right? Remember in the beginning I said that scientists have discovered that water is actually the primary source of energy in our body. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention electrolytes, right? Electrolyte just means a conductor of electricity. Yeah, that's why the minerals are very important, okay? And maybe you've done one of those little experiments in school before where the battery, it's running through water and it's not lighting up the light bulb, but when you add the salt, all of a sudden it lights up because you need those electrolytes, those little conductors of electricity. That's why the minerals are important. Anyway, so when if we have another source of energy, the primary source of energy, is drinking water, which then, when through osmosis the water goes into the cells and it's turning these little pumps, that's a great source of energy because, let me give a little analogy. If you can choose, you can burn up your ATP and your GTP, your stored energy, which is going to come from foods that you drink, right? I mean, foods that you eat, right? You're going to glucoses and so forth, okay? When you drink the caffeine or you take in aspartame, it immediately goes to burn those fuels up. Okay? To me, that's like, let's say you want to heat your house, that's like burning up your furniture. Okay? It's there in storage, and it took some energy to create that. Yeah? It took some energy to create the ATP and the GTP and store it away and so forth, right? Now the caffeine and the aspartame go run and say, okay, let's burn this up for energy. That's why you feel the high, right? The caffeine high. It's not a very efficient approach at energy, okay? Now, when you take water and you turn the little pumps, that's like free continual energy. That's like going out and just getting some firewood to heat your home, right? The trees keep growing, you can always get it, right? There's a lot more energy that goes into taking wood, creating it into furniture, and burning that. It just wouldn't make sense. Nobody does that. It's really a very similar process in your body. And again, that's why people that can fast, I mean, some people fast 60 days, have no energy problems. I understand that now, because I was like, how do they do that? And they have no energy problems. It's because water is a source of energy. I think you're going to see as we wake up to more and more truths, I think we are going to walk away from food as a source of energy in a big way. Anyway, so that, what's this have to do with obesity? Okay, so your aspartame is triggering the release of this one stored energy. Caffeine's triggering the release of the other stored energy. What's going to happen? That means now your furniture's gone. Okay, when mom and kids want to sit down to eat dinner, they're going to say, hey, Dad, there's no kitchen table anymore. Can you go out and get us some wood and make us another kitchen table? Right? Your body's going to do the same thing. Your body's going to say, hey, the energy stores are gone. Go back out and get some more, body. Yeah? And that sends a hunger signal to your body and tells you to eat more so that you can replenish your stores. Yeah, because you need those stores in case of like fight or flight, those kind of things. You need those. Your body wants those always in storage.